Good morning and welcome back to Not So Grand Garage. Today I'm out in the shop and I've got this 1996 Toyota Tacoma sitting here. It's a two-wheel drive, 2.4 5-speed, sweet little truck. But owner went out to get in it the other day and it wouldn't start. After messing around with it for a little bit, he kicked the bottom of the fuel tank and it fired right up. So it's time to put a fuel pump in it. This thing just turned over 349,000 miles. This is the first fuel pump we've put in it, and I've been servicing this truck for at least the last 220,000. So yeah, oddly enough, I believe this is one of the first actual mechanical parts I've had to replace. It's not just a wear item. It's still running the factory alternator, factory starter. I think we've put plugs in it a few times, done brakes on it a few times, kept the oil changed, put a clutch in it at one point. Actually, that was only probably 50,000 ago. But yeah, it's a sweet little truck, and we're gonna get it going again. As you can see, I've already got it up on jack stands, and I already got started a little bit. Come over here, pulled the 4 screws out of this shroud, pulled this shroud off. There are 8mm screws, 4 around here. So now your fill tube can come out. And I went on and got the PB blaster out and lubricated all the strap bolts and the hinge points for the straps, and also lubricated these fuel line junctions, so hopefully they'll come apart pretty easy. This truck doesn't have hardly any rust underneath it, so yeah, pretty happy about that. But we're gonna go on and disconnect these fuel lines. First, I'm going to pull a fuel pump fuse and turn the engine over a little bit, make sure it drops fuel pressure in the lines so we're not spraying fuel all over the place down here. Come back under here, disconnect these lines, and we will start loosening these straps up, get the jack underneath it, and lower this tank down. Fuel lines disconnected, and a little bit of residual drained off in the pan. So now we're ready to pull this bolt right here, the one in the back that'll take the straps down. We'll have a jack underneath the tank. We'll release the straps, bend them down out of the way, and we should be able to lower this tank down. There'll be an electrical connection on top of the tank for the pump, so be sure to pay attention to that. But yeah, I think it's ready to go. I've got my jack plate, little adapter piece I made a long time ago that just is a standard jack cup welded to a piece of thick plate, and it lets you spread the load out on things like fuel tanks and transmissions if you don't have a transmission jack, which I don't. So next up, I'm going to get this underneath the tank and get these strap bolts loose. Use hand tools or air when you're pulling these strap bolts. You've got fuel and everything else potentially, sitting on top of this tank from disconnecting the fuel lines. And I've seen people burn their shops to the ground because they grabbed an electric impact or an electric drill and started using it around leaking fuel. So don't do that. Use hand tools or grab an air impact if you must. But yeah, so I'm ready to pull these strap bolts and get this tank down. Well, as you can see, I've got the tank on the ground. I did go on and unbolt the filler neck and vent from the side of the tank. It is just too tight to get it over the frame up here. So I let the tank down a little bit on the straps, and I was able to get in with a 1/4-inch ratchet and get those bolts out. They came out really easy, no problem there. And there is enough room in this wiring to let this down so you can unhook the pump from with the tank on the floor, as long as you don't have the truck way up in the air. As you can see, I've got enough room to slide the tank out. So it's up a good bit. But yeah, I'm gonna disconnect the fuel pump and slide the tank out. Tank is out, pump flange is unbolted. But I wanted to touch on this right here where your fuel pump connects, where your sending unit fuel pump wiring connects. Easiest way to get this off, especially if it's been on there since day one, you're gonna wanna squeeze on this clip. The release is on the drive shaft side of the tank. So squeeze on that and slide a little pry bar or a wide flat tip screwdriver underneath the edge and just work it up gently so you don't break that clip, but it'll come right off. I got all the bolts out, and the pump and sending unit housing should be ready to come out. Up we go. And just be careful as you work everything up out of the tank. You will get gas, you know, spillage. That's just gonna happen. But we're out. Now all I've got to do is swap this pump out and drop it back in, replace the gaskets. We should be good to go. Well, I've got our parts laid out here on the tailgate. I've got a Bosch replacement pump, gaskets, replacement hose clamps, the electrical connector, and pump sock. So I'm gonna go on and swap all this out. It should be pretty straightforward. All that holds this in is a little rubber coupler down here on the bottom and this hose itself. So pop this hose loose, pop the pump off the bracket, and swap the new pump on. Should be good to go. And there it is. New Bosch pump, new fuel sock, new wiring, and new hose with injection rated clamps. So now it's time I drop it back in the tank. The kit did not come with the right gaskets, so I'm gonna have to get a little creative there, but that's okay. We'll get the pump assembly put back in the tank and get the tank back up in the truck. The installation process pretty well reverse of what I've already showed you, so I'm not gonna bore you too much with that. Leaks, no problem. Well, that about wraps this one up. I got a mess to clean up behind me, but yeah, should be good to go for hopefully another 300,000 miles. His goal is to hit the 1,000,000 mile mark, and he very well might do it. We'll see. If you want to support the channel, I've got a PayPal account set up. The link to that is in the description of every video. I've also got SuperThanks enabled, so you can use that if you want. Feel free to do so. If you've got any comments, complaints, questions, drop them in the comment section below. And I try to answer all those that I can. Try to stay on top of that pretty good. But yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe. We appreciate you watching.